Screencast 17, calling X++ code from a report. The last time I showed you this report, it was generating the data for this data region from a data method. And this was the data method, right? Arrange dictionary, and we call this static method. That's defined on this object or this class called AX_query. Now, what we want to do is show another example of calling code, getting something back from AX, but instead of running a query, we're going to call a method, right? In this specific case, we're going to call a method that retrieves the value for a label. So, on how this, you'll see this in the report, is we're going to get a label and show it as the title of the report. So first, let's go and just create a data method, and we'll call this get title or get label. I open that up and I'll rename it to get label. Okay. And now I'll hit apply and the method's renamed. And let's just get a string, a dummy string first. Return foobar. Perfect. I'll build. And then in the voxel for the title of that design, I'll go to the design, click here in its value, click on expression, and I'll find the data method, which is getLabel. And add some parentheses, and then hit OK. So the title will return the value of that function. Let's build just to make sure. And I preview. It should say hello world or foobar. Perfect. Now what we want to do is retrieve a label. And this is an interesting example because it shows you the other way we have to connect to AX. So the first thing is we have to get an object which represents our session to AX. And it's very easy to get. We'll just do var AX equals Microsoft.dynamics.framework.reports session manager. Okay, session manager get session. So that gets our AX session. And then what we'll do is we'll get back the value of the method called label ID to string. Okay, so we'll store the result as result equals ax.call static class method, and it's syslabel, and then label ID to string 2. That's the method name. And then what's the actual label? We want the parameters at sys21669, which should be just the string ABC. And then we'll return result dot toString. Okay, we should see ABC. Build. And then preview ABC. Perfect. So now we've shown you how to get the AX session and how to call a static method and get a value back. Okay, and specifically we've shown you how to resolve a label. Now let's parameterize this, because we don't want to just return always just sys21669. We want this method to return the label we choose when we call the method. So we'll have string, which is label ID, and then we'll call that label ID. Put that here. Okay. Now, notice that this method now requires a parameter, right? And you see the AutoDesign is like complaining now, right? It says AutoDesign1 has invalid expression for property title. And that's because it knows that, because of IntelliSense in essence, it knows that it can't just call getLabel. It knows it requires a parameter. So we'll try getting a parameter, giving it a parameter. So it's at sys21669. Okay, we'll build. And notice the error went away. We'll preview. There we go. Right? Now we can reuse this method to get labels from AX, right? So that's a simple example. Let's just go over what we've learned again. We've learned how to create a data method that returns a string. We learned how to get the AX session. We learned how to call a static method on some class. And then finally, we learned how to get a label and use that in the report. Okay, that's all for this screencast. See you next time.